Hey everybody, this is Bassoon27, and today I'm going to be doing an in-depth review of Windows 7 Home Premium. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is the Start menu. So when we open it up, we can see that it looks very similar to the Start menus found in previous versions of Windows. On the left side are the programs that you have used frequently or opened recently. And on the right side are links to places you would go often when using your computer, such as documents, pictures, music, and videos. Below that are three options that deal with the settings of the computer, such as the control panel where you can make the changes, devices and printers where you can set up new devices, and help and support where you can look for help if you're having problems with your computer. Below that is the power options where you can choose to log off, switch users, shut down, etc. And on the left side is a search bar where you can type in any keyword, such as brightness, and it will find all the options that let you deal with the brightness of the screen and any other options that deal with that type of keyword. You can also search for documents, programs, and settings. One new thing that Microsoft has done in Windows 7 is allow you to make it very easy to pin programs to the Start menu. For example, if we go to Accessories and Calculator, because we use that often, you can right-click, choose Pin to Start menu, and it is now going to stay up there until we decide to remove it. And that is just about everything you need to know about the Start menu. The most significant difference that you will notice when switching to Windows 7 is the look of the taskbar. On the bottom left is the Start button, which looks very similar if you're using Windows Vista, but may look slightly different if you're used to using Windows XP or previous editions, because now instead of having a rectangular shape, the Start button is circular. And of course, click it to open the Start menu. To the right of that are the icons that you may be used to in previous versions, but now instead of being very small and clumped to the left, they're spread out and are much larger. So now it has a look that very much resembles what a Mac might look like if you're used to using one of those. Also, it's very easy to move around the icons. Say we want to move Microsoft Word to a different location, you simply click and drag it side to side, and you can place it wherever you want it to be, and just as easily move it back. And a new feature that Microsoft has offered is to click a program and drag upwards, and this way it will open, it will show you a list of recent documents, pinned documents, and options below. And you can do similar things with the other programs, and things like AIM and iTunes won't really do much, but the feature still exists with those. Also, if you have multiple windows open, say we have one Microsoft Word document that says hello, and we have another document that says bye, and another that says, I don't know, YouTube. Now we have three Microsoft Word documents open, so what it will do is, instead of showing three Microsoft Word buttons on the bottom, it will show a stacked sort of look, and if you highlight the mouse over that, you can see three different options to choose from, and if you keep the mouse highlighted long enough, it will show a larger picture next to it, which you can switch between the three different documents. And the same thing happens when you have just one document open. You can have just one open, and the same thing will happen when you hover over it, and it will show you the options. To the right-hand side of the taskbar, you can see icons that are exactly the same as what you would find in previous versions of Windows, with options having to deal with programs that are installed and running in the background on your system. And next to that, of course, is the time and date, and now since the taskbar is larger, the date is able to fit in without having to alter any settings or highlighting over the time. And to the right of that is a button for the new feature that Windows has included, Arrow Peak, which I will get to a little bit later. And that pretty much covers everything about the new taskbar. So Windows 7 is now included with many new features, and the first one I'm going to talk about is my favorite one because it is very useful and helps me work much faster. So say we have a Microsoft Word document open, and we also have PowerPoint document open as well. So we have two documents open, and we want to see both of them at the same time. Say we're comparing something on both of them. We can, instead of actually pressing the restore button, you can click the top of the window and pull out, and it kind of detaches from the top of the screen, and we can do the same with the other. So now we have two different windows, and if we want to compare them, we can take the Microsoft Word window and move it to the left, and you can see that it snaps into the left side of the screen. And if we take the other one, snap it to the right, and now we have two documents side by side, easily comparable, and this is very useful when you're trying to, say, look at information from one document and put it into another. And of course you can do this with web pages. Maybe you want to be on Facebook at the same time as watching a YouTube video, or of course any other programs you want to use. Another feature that Windows has added is called Arrow Peek. So if we have a Word document open and it's completely covering the screen, but maybe we have a, we have a clock on the desktop, and we want to see that clock and not the clock on the bottom right hand of the screen. We can hover the mouse over, as I mentioned earlier, that arrow peek button on the bottom right, and the window that's on top will change to transparent, and you can see everything that's on the desktop. And so if we have a smaller window open on top, then it will look like this. And also, if you click that button down there, instead of just making it transparent, it will bring you to the desktop. And that makes it also much easier because in previous versions of Windows you had to right click and choose, it's not here anymore, but show desktop. Okay, and by the way, you can press the Windows button on your keyboard in addition to the space bar for the same effect. So just keep that in mind if you're a keyboard shortcut person. And also, this is a feature that many people have heard of because it's a great new addition to Windows 7. If you have multiple windows open, and so the desktop is completely cluttered and you want to keep just the calculator open, you can click the window and drag it with you, and then shake it, and all the windows will minimize except the one that you're holding on to. And if you shake it again, they'll return to exactly where they were when you minimized them. And so I also really like that feature, and I'm sure it will be of benefit to everyone else as well. And another feature, which is new to Windows XP or previous users, but will be very similar to people using Windows Vista, is the ability to press Windows and the Tab button to show a display of all the windows you have open. And that's actually the file I'm editing to make this video right now. So you can see everything very clearly, gives you a nice visual display. And if you hold down Control when doing that, it stays open, so you can use your mouse to select whatever file you want. So now, instead of My Documents, you may have noticed this by now after all of the review, there is no longer My Documents, and instead it is titled Libraries. So if you double click on that, it will bring you to a screen where you can choose between documents, pictures, music, and videos. So there's really no major difference except that now it's combined all of those folders into one area, which I seem to like more, and maybe not for others, but I think many people will like that. Not a major difference, but now you may have also noticed that when you highlight over an icon or a file, you can see a small checkbox in the corner. So if you want to move multiple instances to the recycle bin, you can use the checkboxes and then drag them over. Makes it much easier. And finally, another nice feature is to hold down the Windows button and then press the plus button to activate the magnifier, which will follow the mouse, and you can also choose from other settings to have it pan and zoom and similar things. And I still don't find it as good as the zooming on the Mac because it gets very pixely when you zoom in far, but still it's a nice addition. And that covers all of the major new features, and of course the gadgets still exist, which you may not be used to, of course, if you're using XP, but Vista users will recognize that. So that concludes all the new features, and they're all very useful, very helpful, and nice new additions.